So here we are the next day. Yesterday I did all the stitching using the 1mm copper wire, finished doing all that, the upper planks. And then last night I, both in the bow, which you can see up there, and the stern back here, I started doing some epoxy work. So there's some carbon fiber that I had left over from an earlier project, and so epoxied that in to the bow and the stern. And so one of my reasons for using the carbon fiber is because I've got it left over, but the other reason I'm doing that is because in the end it's actually sort of burnable and degradable at the point when the boat's reached its sort of end of life. Versus if I use fiberglass, then that's a problem for getting rid of this thing. I don't know, 100 years from now or something. So try to make it easier on future generations, and somebody who has to deal with this at the end of its life expectancy, and make it out of something that can be completely either degrade because it's wood, or can be burned because it's epoxy and carbon fiber in this case. And I'm using West System resin as opposed to bio epoxy or something like that, because I just happen to have a lot of West System resin from other projects that I've done in the past. So just wanted to use it up essentially. So that's what I'm doing with that. You can see the stitches here. Here's this piece here where I had to cut just a little bit off of this to get this piece to fit in there. So this piece here of this plank here is actually routed out here so that it fits and tucks nicely onto here, and that gives you a nice solid landing there. It fits really well. These pieces fit incredibly well. So the only thing I had to do was to take off about 1/8 of an inch here, and that's probably because of the extra epoxy thickness that I've got on the planks, because I wanted to seal up those joints in case water got in there. I wasn't sure how well I'd be able to get epoxy into those things. So some of the joints where there's a big transition in the direction between one plank and the other, there's a fairly large gap underneath and be easy to get stuff in. But in other places where that transition is pretty straight, there's not much space in there. And then especially these ones down here where they'd be in the water all the time, those are the ones I was primarily concerned about. Up here, not so much. But down here, down low, where it'd be in the water, submerged a lot of the time, I didn't want any gaps or voids down there. Or there may be gaps or voids, but at least everything will be sealed with epoxy, which is good. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. So today I'm going to start tabbing in on these frames over here to stiffen this thing up a bit more. And it's a little bit, so I've got the whole boat up in the air right now on the got these rope slings, and plus it's up on sawhorses, which was great for while I was doing all this wiring, but now to do the work on the inside, start tabbing in epoxying here on the inside, that's going to be difficult to get to. So I'm going to put up some most of the weight on these ropes, and then start to lower it down onto a lower set of sawhorses. Got a shorter set back there in the corner, so I'm going to lower it down on those and see if that looks like it's a good height to work on. I suspect it will be. And then in a couple of days, got some guys happen to be coming by to do some other electrical work and that kind of thing at the house. So I'm hoping that while they're here, I can snag some help, and we can, if I get this whole thing glued together on the inside, then we can flip the whole thing over together. We've got about 4 people, so that should work out pretty well. Oh yeah, and then on the so I also glued these things in basically follow the directions. The stern one's at I think 19 degrees, and the bow piece, these pieces here have to be cut at a little bit of an angle. So I just did that on my bandsaw and glued those in. There's a couple of little screws. You can see them here. They're just holding it in place till the epoxy set. I had two on this side too, but I just pulled those out. So I'm gonna finish pulling these out and maybe clean this stuff up a little bit and start doing some more epoxy work after I lower this thing down. That's the plan for today.